Hello and welcome to July's Brenda Novak Book Group meeting. This month, our featured read is the Book Club for Troublesome Women. I almost put the Troublesome Women first. The Book Club for Troublesome Women by Marie Bostwick. And we're going to bring her on in just a bit. I can't wait to talk to her. It was such a fabulous read, something I could really bite into because I had memories of my mother going through this time period and being a child in it. I'm sure many of you could identify with that too. So I had a lot of fun with this book. We will not give away spoilers. So if you haven't finished quite yet, there's no stress. We will be careful with that. But hopefully this will just give you a deeper insight and get you that much more excited to finish the book. So be sure to like and share this video so that we can introduce Marie and her work to more and more people. And for doing that, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to the Brenda Novak store where you can get all of our fun reader-related goodies, including our book boxes. Also, post where you're joining us from. We love to see that. We always read through the comments. And if you're new, let us know that too. And for those who are new, just to let you know how our book group works, in the months that I have a release, we read my book and discuss it with me at the end of the month. But in the months I don't have a release, I feature other fabulous authors. We read her or his book together, and then I interview the author for our book group meeting at the end of the month. It's always the last Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We try and keep it the same so that there's no confusion and everybody can kind of get on the same train. So the book boxes are just a fun addition. They're not compulsory by any way. They're just something we've come up with to add a whole other element of fun where you can get an autographed copy of the book we're reading that month, along with other reader-related goodies that come to your doorstep once a month. They're a blast. If you sign up for a subscription, you get one every month, but you don't even have to get a subscription. You can just choose one or two boxes as you like. There are incentives for becoming a subscriber, however, because that's how we can source all of our stuff. We have to know how much to order, and they really help us out by giving us a target. So we appreciate them. We appreciate you. We're glad that you all could make it, and we're happy to get started tonight. Oh, I want to make sure that I remind the Book Box subscribers that we have an after party tonight. So you'll get a little bit more up close and intimate with Marie. We're going to be on Zoom so that you can not only hear us, but we can hear you and we can interact. And I have a really cute game that I found that I think will fit our read just perfectly. There it is. Gosh, I knew I had her book here somewhere and I kept reaching for it. So this is our read, and this is the game revolves around some of the things that you discover in this book. So before we get going too far, though, I want to talk a little bit about August Brenda Novak Book Box. We haven't revealed a great deal about it yet, but this is one you're not going to want to miss. We have seen all of those cute posts of the book bricks. Everybody, I mean, I can't remember how many years now we've been getting people posting about these to the book group, and we always love them. They're great for your garden, and they're great for display, whatever. They're just super cute, and they're basically bricks that are painted to look like books. And so we thought how fun it would be to do this as a book group, to make these together. But sometimes our ideas get ahead of us a little bit, and then we get ourselves into a jam. But we solved all the problems for this, and we're super excited because we think we have a foolproof way of making this happen. So we got a little carried away, though. We decided to do 2 bricks because what's better than 1 brick? 2 bricks, because then you can use them and bookends if you want. And we thought, oh my gosh, they'd be cute in a garden to have more than one as well, or going up your stairs, or however you would like to display them. They're even great for a book-loving friend. So we made it foolproof. There's going to be specific instructions in your box. So you can go ahead and make your book brick on your own, either via painting or using a transfer. So, and the great thing about having 2 and having 2 sides is that if you try to paint it and you don't like the way it worked out, you can bail out and turn it over, and you can use the transfer and have it turn out perfectly. I'm going to show you examples of both. So this one is a darling one that Alexa painted. Didn't it turn out cute? I think she did a really good job. And I would hate to show you what mine would look like if I tried this. I would definitely go the transfer way. Notice she didn't even have to cheat and turn it over like I just suggested. This is the transfer, though, that you can do. So it's even more perfect, of course, because it's actually the book cover on this transfer paper. She did one on each side so that she could show you an example. This one's the Banned Book Club. So let me show you the ones we're including in the box. It's 2-sided because we have the 2 of my latest books. But in case you want to go with something else and go with classics, we also have Jane Eyre and The Secret Garden, both of which are such pretty covers, I feel like. So I am going to show you just how easy it is to use these transfers, right? We are going to take this. So basically, that sheet that I just showed you, you can take and you cut it carefully. We were in a hurry. We didn't cut ours totally carefully, but it's close. You first do that, and look, you can cut the spine, 2 separate pieces. Then you take your brick, both of which are going to be included in your box. I feel so sorry for the delivery people. They're going to pick up this box expecting it to weigh a certain amount and have it weigh a lot more. But bless the USPS, right? So anyway, you take and you paint the brick, the background cover of the cover that you're going to be used. And the paints are all included. That's what's great. Let me tell you actually everything that's going to be in this box before I go too far. We've got the 2 bricks. We've got the transfer papers, which I just showed you. We've got Mod Podge, which Alexa has here on my thing. So it's just this white, looks like Elmer's glue, right? It's just Mod Podge. If you've never worked with that before, most of us have it, children, at least if you're of an age like me. Then there's the step-by-step instructions that I mentioned. Then we have some the pre-selected cover art. Now, you can even do a different cover, and you can just size it to fit, right? So if you want to do your favorite book, or a new book you're reading at the time, or whatever you want to do, you can print out your own. That's just not, these are what's included. But you can get creative and do it however you like. So how you start with the transfer is you just take, there's even brushes in the box, right, Lex? Mm-hmm. So you're going to get the brush, you're going to get everything. Lexi and I like to try and make it as complete as possible because she knows how bad I am. If I'm missing one thing, I don't like to run out and grab it. So here you go. You just take this Mod Podge, and then you take and you dab it. Let me show this. I'm going to do it so they can see it. You dab it and get it pretty thick, as much as you can. Am I supposed to stay here, Lex? I didn't realize. I'll do it this way then. I didn't know you could see. Okay. Lexi's got me covered to show you. Just put on a nice coating of this and dab it all over. I'm going to try and do this quickly because it's really easy. So you're going to use the wider brush, obviously, for big strokes like this. You're going to use the fine brush when you do the cover and author name. You're going to want something that goes a lot thinner. I was teasing Lexa earlier that we should have had Marie demonstrate this part because she's really good at all kinds of crafts. I think she's a master quilter, actually. So we'll get to talk to her a little more about that soon. So I am putting this on pretty thick. Is this about how thick you did yours, Lex? Mm-hmm. So try and cover all the nooks and crannies. There we go. So Jane Eyre is my all-time favorite book, for those of you who don't know. So that's the cover that I'm putting on right now. And I'm super excited because I just asked Alexa if this one could be mine. And she agreed. So I'm going to have Jane Eyre as one of my, I haven't decided if I'm going to use it as a bookend or if I'm going to use it out on my front porch. I think it would go really cute with our new mats that say probably reading. Don't you think it'd be cute out there on the front porch with that? So, okay, I've got a good amount here.
And Janet actually gave away 2 August boxes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Janet gave away 2 August boxes. Janet Roble this is never, I want to let everybody know, this is nothing we ever ask or expect of you to do. This is just something extra Janet often does. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super grateful to her for everything she does to support us, but we don't mention it because we expect you to do the same. So anyway, bless her heart. She's given away 2 August boxes, and we're going to pick 2 live winners that get them. And she gave away 2 things for later that we'll get to too. So, okay, I've got the Mod Podge on. Now I'm just going to take, and I'm going to make sure, see, it even can kind of move so you can make sure you get it straight. And you're just going to keep pressing it down until you know you have a solid connection, right? Here we go. So you can do that and make sure that you cut it fairly close to your brick. This one, maybe we could have cut a little better. Yeah, but you can trim it after. So, okay, once you get it on there, you're going to let it dry, and then you're going to do another coat and let it dry. Then you're going to do another coat and let it dry. And if you want to have yours be outside in direct sunlight or direct water, you're going to want to use a sealant. That is not an extra that we included, but you can get that easily like at Home Depot or somewhere. And we even give you in the instructions the name of it and everything. So this one is going to turn out cute. As you can tell, it's going to have Jane Eyre as a cover. And it'll go nicely.
It'll be just like that one.
It'll be just, this is the painted one again. And this one will be a transfer, just like this one.
I haven't finished the pages yet.
She hasn't done the pages on the side. But there's a way you can dry brush, and we give instructions for that too so that you can do it. Now, as I said, you can do this on your own if you want, because there's going to be detailed instructions and everything included. But if you want to do it together with us, that'll be even more fun at August book group meeting. So we hope you're going to join us when we interview Michelle Lindo Rice next month, the last Thursday of the month, and when we will do this project together. So
The winners of the box.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we didn't tell them how to enter.
Okay.
Should we tell them how to enter and then draw them a little later?
I think you said live viewer.
I did live viewer.
You did.
Okay. Well, put in the comments which cover you're going to do your 2 bricks. If you're going to use these current ones, these classic ones, if you're going to print out some of your own, and Alexa will pick 2 winners to win that. So those are live winners if they're giving comments. So it's both true.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I love the way Alexa's turned out. So hopefully when I try it for August meeting, mine will turn out just as good. So, and I can't wait to see the pictures of yours. I hope that you guys will post them in book group, because it's always fun to see how the things that we send out in our boxes are hitting at home, how you're doing it and what you're doing with them and how much you enjoy them. So if you don't have August box coming yet, make sure you grab one, because this is going to be a fun thing. And we also have other things going there. One is a really cute cup that says, or is that the surprise item?
No, that's good.
Oh, poof, okay. I thought I gave away another surprise. They're 2 cute cups, and it says, do not disturb something
if
else.
I'm reading or crafting.
Yeah, do not disturb if I'm reading or crafting. And you get 2 of them, and one of them is to rinse your brushes. They're plastic and they have that branding on them. And then the other one is to have a drink while you're crafting. So anyway, that's part of the box, and I didn't even give away the surprise. So therefore, there's more to look forward to. So grab your surprise or your August box. And we still have a few copies of Wayward Girls by Susan Wiggs. We offered that as an add-on for August, an autographed copy of that. And it's such a wonderful book. I've read it and loved it, and I love her. So those of you who aren't adding on that still have an opportunity. We have maybe 10 left, would you say, Alexa? Mm-hmm. Maybe 10 of those left. So also, we still have our picture contest going. So that'll be going through the end of the summer, clear till actually the official end of summer, the last day of summer. And I have loved seeing all your entries. I hope you've been getting my newsletters where you see all the cute entries that I'm getting of people in vacationing and with their animals. All you have to do to enter is post a picture of the summer that changed everything, however you want to stage it. Just some cute picture, and you can post it in our book group. You can post it on your socials. Be sure to tag me at author Brenda Novak so that I see it, so that you get entered to win a $100 gift card to the bookstore of your choice. And you can even use it for our bookstore toward the reader weekend that I'm having in April. So when my next book, many of you know, I went to Italy for Alexa's wedding, and I loved it so much that I decided I want to set a book there. So I came home and wrote Meet Me in Italy, and that book is coming out April 7th. And instead of going on tour, I told my publisher I really want to do a reader weekend here in Sacramento. So Alexa and I have been working really hard on it. It's going to be at a beautiful farm in Newcastle, which is not too far from where I live, out in the countryside in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas. And it has a cool Victorian farmhouse on it. And we are going to eat some of the food mentioned in the book. We're going to have cooking demonstrations, big Italian feast, a welcome brunch, cannoli bar, saxophone music live, all kinds of fun things. Lexi and I have been having a blast planning it, and we're in talks right now with the person who we hope will be providing the food. He owns a restaurant, an Italian restaurant that's fantastic, so we're hoping to get him on board. Wouldn't that be fun to do like the handmade pasta demonstration and different things? So anyway, you're not going to want to miss it. You will be providing your own flight, hotel, and airport transfers, but we do have an option where you can add on transportation, where we will pick you up from the hotel and bring you to the event back and forth each day, and to our cute little excursion that we're going to do to Coloma, which is where gold was discovered, and an example of what a gold country town is like. And that's where I set Whiskey Creek, of course. Many of you have read that, so it gives you a feel for what those towns are like. So Alexa has a craft going. I mean, we probably have scheduled too many things, and we kind of tend to overshoot sometimes, but it's going to be wonderful, and things seem to be just be falling in place. So we feel like it's going to be perfect. There's even going to be some rooms available on site. The house is this cool old Victorian ranch house or farmhouse, and then it has some cottages. So there's only 5 opportunities for people to stay there, 5 rooms, maybe
Mhm.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
So those who have their tickets, we're going to open those up to them first, obviously, because we know they're coming. So if you want the opportunity to stay on the property where all the excitement will be happening for the entire weekend, then make sure you grab your ticket, and we will soon post to let you know which rooms are available. They all have their own bathroom. It's not like you'll be sharing a bathroom with, everybody like at some B&Bs. So that'll be comforting to know. And in the farmhouse, they have a beautiful dining room and a billiards room, and this place has tennis courts and a pool and table tennis and beautiful walks around the property and an orchard. And it's just going to be fabulous. We cannot wait to see you all here in Sacramento. And we're going to make it like you went on a trip to Italy. So hopefully we will get to see you. We just got the block of rooms in Roseville. We're still working for the block of rooms in Sacramento. So we don't have that quite nailed down, but the transportation, if you add that on, we'll pick up from Sacramento and Roseville. And that way you can plan if you want to do an extended stay, go to San Francisco, Napa Valley, Tahoe. We're within an hour and a half of all those places. It's very cool to do some gold country touring as well, some wine country touring. So lots to do in this area. If you've wanted to come out and see California, this will be the perfect excuse. So the tickets are on the store on my website at brendanovak.com. Just type in tour. That's where the August boxes are too that I was just telling you to get. Now we get to move on to Marie Bostwick. And I am so excited to have you get to know her better. She's a New York Times and USA Today bestseller of 20 novels. She's worked in both contemporary and historical fiction. She lives in Washington State with her husband, Brad, and she has a fabulous, she says he's moderately spoiled. I bet he's a little more spoiled than that, but she has a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. When she's not writing, she enjoys reading, cooking, and every fiber craft imaginable. And I think by that she means quilting. We're going to have to ask her to specify on that. And she loves spending time with family and friends. So welcome, Marie.
Hi, good to be here.
Hi, so nice to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Oh, there's no place I would rather be.
Oh, wonderful. And thank you, too, for signing all of those books. Was that a little overwhelming when the pallets showed up?
It was fun. It was fun. We broke it up into, we had music and we broke it up into sessions. And my husband, I realized I was never going to get done. I was like, okay, your job is to open the pages. And he did. So it took about 8 hours all told. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay, well, thank you for spending that time for us so that we could have signed copies. It makes them extra special. I love at the end of the year having a complete set of signed copies of the 12 books that we read as a group.
So fun.
It makes it a really fun collection. So thank you for doing that. And before we get started on any questions, I want to give away a July book box because we put up a post before we have book group every time where we give away one of our book boxes that includes the author's book. And it's for people who RSVP to come or want to leave us a question on that post. So we are going to give that one to Christina Egan. So congratulations, Christina.
And it's such a great box. I love my doormat so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Isn't it cute?
It's the cutest.
We should have
amazed.
A picture of yours on your doorstep. That would be so fun in book
Oh,
group.
yeah. I've got one somewhere. Yes, I will do that later. No, I just love it. Just love it.
Oh, perfect. I'm so glad. Well, all the winners, we always announce our winners on a post after where we give the link where people can get it. We give away so much stuff that we have a giveaway link on my website that's secure. And then it just gets it all in one flow and we're able to take care of it that way. So congratulations to Christina, and go ahead and fill out the giveaway link on my website now if you want, or you can wait for that post where it has the link in it. So Marie, why don't you tell everyone how you got your start?
Oh, well, it's interesting. I'm one of those people, like a lot of authors. I was writing pretty much as soon as I could hold a pencil, So I was writing little stories and when I was about 13, I believe that I invented chick lit with me and Julie Walker in her parents' basement. So we used to, I was such a big nerd. It's shocking I wasn't more popular in school. That was my idea of a good time, was hanging out with Julie Walker and like writing stories that were essentially like Sex in the City with no sex, because we were like 13, and then I got older and I went through my, sad, self-absorbed teenage poetry phase, and as one does. And then when I got married and I started having kids, I kind of went through an Irma Bombeck phase where I wrote a lot of essays about things like missing socks and the joys of sending your kids to summer camp because, you will miss them and you love them, but you can't miss them if they don't leave, right? So, so there was a lot of that. And then when I was in my early 30s, I through a long story that I'm not going to tell, I ended up sort of almost stumbling into a writer's workshop.
Oh,
And it was, yeah, and it was while I was on vacation. And it meant like 2 hours a day for a week. And I was really shy at first because there was a lot of people. I had thought there'd be like 6 people, and there was like 40, which was super intimidating. So lots of times in workshops, as you know, Brenda, but everybody may not know, like there'll be kind of a lecture and a writing prompt, and people write, and then people share what they've read, and there's comments and back and forth. Well, I didn't read for like a while because there was too many people and it was scary. But finally, after about day 4, I got up the courage and started reading a little bit. And on the last day of that workshop, the guy who was the facilitator pulled me aside. He was actually, what he said is, I came into class, he said, I need to see you after class. I had visions of grade school. I thought Sister Judith was going to have me out in the alley clapping erasers for misbehaving in class and stuff. So I was very nervous. And at the end of class, he said, so, you're a writer. What have you published?
oh wow.
Which was, I was like, no, I'm a mom. I write grocery lists. Anyway, to kind of cut to the chase on all that, I was living in Mexico at that time, and he was like, you have to go to graduate school. And I said, yeah, that's not going to happen. I have 3 little kids. One of them was an infant. And I was like, that's not going to be it. And he just kept saying, well, you have to go to conferences and workshops and all these things. I was a mom with 3 small children living in a foreign country. And I just kept saying no. And he finally said, well, I guess I will have to teach you. So
Oh
he
wow.
actually became my kind of my teacher for about 3 years. And I wrote a short story a month for him. And this was before the interwebs. So I
Uh-huh.
actually had to, first I had to find something to write with, and then I had to physically mail it from Mexico. And we did that for a long time. And then finally, one of my short stories got longer and longer and longer, and I realized it was a book.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and I spent 4 years on that book,
uh-huh.
and then I put it in a drawer and pretended that nothing had ever happened. But finally, I got the guts to start sending it in, and that was my first novel, Fields of Gold.
Wow. Wow. How fortunate that he took such an interest and saw such talent
Yes.
in you that he helped nurture that. I mean, some of those people along the way, you almost can't thank them enough when
No,
they
you really can't. Yeah.
have that kind of generous spirit to want to nurture and
Yeah.
help them along. So I love that your story about the seminar, because it reminded me, I'd forgotten. I actually, when I first decided to start writing, I took a seminar at a local community college, and it was given by a man named Lee Roddy. Do you know that name by any chance?
No, no.
He's the creator of Grizzly Adams.
Really?
Yeah. So I remember now. I mean, I hadn't thought of that in forever until you mentioned that, and I'm like, I remember I attended that seminar. It was a 1 day thing, and how charged up it got me, and
Yep.
I'm so excited about writing. But
Yeah.
he has since passed. But for a long time, his wife followed me in my career, which was nice. I would get to hear from her periodically. But anyway, so I think we're all lucky that he nurtured that in you and helped you sort of have the confidence, and the just turning that in probably just kept you going, knowing he was kind.
Oh, yeah, because I had a deadline every month. So
Yeah,
I learned about deadlines, which I've been now on a deadline for like 30 years, just like you, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question, it has to do with who has nurtured your writing the most, and now I'm thinking that maybe who's your biggest advocate. Like a lot of people say their husband, their children, whatever, but maybe I don't know. Maybe this teacher is
Well,
yours.
I think this gentleman was certainly in the early years, but I will say, a mutual friend of ours, Debbie Maycumber,
Oh,
she was kind to me when I was, I mean, I was getting some books published, but man, nobody was reading them. And she has continued to be my champion and my cheerleader. And there's nothing I can do to repay that kindness. Debbie has everything she needs. I mean, I send her gifts because gifts are my love language. But what she modeled for me, right, is to encourage the next generation of writers. So that's how I try to repay that debt when I can, when I see somebody's really serious about their career.
So nice. I love that. Yeah, Debbie has been in our group as our December author for the past 5 years at least, I think.
Yeah,
So
I was your MC a couple
that's
years
right.
ago,
At the last party.
which was so much fun. And we where I discovered that I have no taste buds at all, because you all knew the kinds of chocolates. You and Debbie were I had no clue. I was just like, it's chocolate, it tastes delicious.
I
So
love it. I love all of it. Just bring it on. So, in your opinion, what would you say is the most important element for the making of a good novel? If you had to narrow it down to just one, I know it's a
for me, it's character.
okay.
For me, it's got to be character, and that's where I start a lot. And I want to read, especially my main character needs to be somebody that if I met that person in real life, I would want to hang out with them,
Yeah, yeah,
because we're going to hang out with that character for, right, 300, 400 pages. So it's got to be somebody we want to spend time with, and that we can, even if we're different, that we see something we can identify.
right.
Um,
They're
yeah,
relatable in some way, so that you can
yeah,
get on board with their goals and their desires and what.
exactly.
Yeah, no, character is huge. So I like that answer. So now we've added a section to book group that we has become, I think, some people's favorite. At least a lot of our readers talk about this section of the book group meetings, where it's called Spill the Tea. So
Okay.
we're going to do a little bit of industry gossip, and I'm going to ask you maybe a couple of more personal questions. So we'll see what you do with these. All right. Have you ever had a bad experience with a book club, yours or someone else's? And what happened?
All right, this is a little bit embarrassing. When like Zoom book clubs got to be a thing, this was a few years back, and it just almost scarred me for life. I was invited by a Zoom book club, and we set up a time and made the appointment, and I was ready to do it, and then I had some time to kill before we started, and I started writing, and I got into the zone, and I totally spaced the fact that I was supposed to like dial into this, and I had no excuse. Like,
Oh,
I thought about trying to make up a story, but it was so embarrassing. But you know
oh,
how it is, right? Once you finally, like, when you're it, everything else goes away.
yeah,
And so now I have learned to set an alarm.
yeah,
I,
yeah. I
I
think
set an
I feel like
actual alarm.
I heard a story similar to that. I won't say who it is, but a fellow author told me years ago. I've never forgotten it because it terrified me. She said that she was bathing her baby in the sink. She got a call, dashed out to do it, and saw her computer on the way back, sat down to write, forgetting the baby in the sink. Panicked when she realized, and the baby was fine. So good ending. But I just remember because I had 5 kids and I was, trying to scrape together just 2 seconds here, 2 seconds there to
Yep.
write. And I could
Yep.
see myself in that to a point where I'm thinking, what if I ever did something like that? I mean, oh my gosh, so it scared the heck out of me.
Right.
So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
get
I
sucked.
once almost missed a flight to Mexico
Oh,
because I started writing in the waiting area, and they changed the gate, and I didn't notice that everyone had left.
oh
And I
my,
looked up at this, and I booked it. I was like sprinting, and I barely made my flight, but I was like, the world does disappear when you're with the imaginary people.
right, right. Well, and what that ability to concentrate is such an aid in getting
Mm-hmm.
stuff done. So it's a good thing you have it, but there can be a double-edged sword there.
Yeah.
So, what's a book you couldn't stand that everyone else seemed to love?
Oh, this is easy because it became famous for me. I just hated Cold Mountain. It was so
Oh,
popular. I read it. Everybody was reading it. They loved it. And look, the writing was gorgeous. The language was gorgeous. What a beautiful writer. That ending drove me insane. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, we get all this way. They have sex and he dies.
yeah,
I literally threw the book across the room.
yeah.
I was
Like
so
I
mad.
respect that.
I was furious. I was furious. So,
That's a
yeah,
great
just hated it.
answer. Have you ever written a character based on someone you know and hoped they wouldn't recognize themselves?
I have written a couple of characters based on people I know loosely, but I don't care if they recognize themselves. Now, when I know they're going to recognize themselves, I've actually called up that person and said, so there's this character and it's based on you and you're going to know that. But here's the thing, they're not you, because by the time I finish writing it, the character will have become him or herself. And
Right.
I said, but you'll know. And generally people are like, oh, great. So
They
yeah.
don't mind. I did something
They're actually usually pretty excited to have a character
part
based
of
on
it.
them.
Well, I did
Yeah.
something really stupid. I was writing a suspense novel, and I had a villain in there that I needed. He was going to give up his, identity and assume a new one to escape, and I wanted him to have something very common. And so I couldn't think of what I wanted right then, but I put in Andy Smith, who is my niece's husband's name is Andy Smith. But I never planned on leaving it because this guy was a serial killer, right? I was just thinking something Smith, I don't know, and so he just became Andy Smith. Well, I got so busy writing, whatever, he just became Andy Smith. I completely forgot about it. And then when it got published, I thought it did occur to me, and I thought, oh, probably no big deal because she doesn't even read my books. Everything's going to be fine. Well, I got a call from her not too long after, and she goes, Auntie, you made Andy a serial killer? She goes, my friend read your book and called me up and said that Andy was a serial killer. So I felt so bad because I'm like, that is no reflection on Andy. It was literally stealing his name because it's a common name. So
Right.
it's kind of funny to get that awkward moment of, ooh, how do I explain this? Because I honestly do love Andy. So I didn't want her to think that it was some kind of, Freudian slip where, the truth is something darker. So anyway, I have to be more careful in the future not to use those kind of placeholders, apparently.
I love that.
What's something about publishing you wish readers knew, but most don't?
Something readers do not realize is that authors are not given free books. We often will get requests to donate books, but we really have to buy those books. We do get a certain number, not a very big number, of books to use for promotional purposes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really, and often we do it, but it does come out of our own pocket when
Right.
we do those things.
Right. I don't think maybe sometimes when they ask, they don't realize they're not saying, "Can I get a free book?" They're saying, "Will you buy me a book?" That's what they're
That's
getting.
what they're saying. That's
Yeah,
what
will
they're
you
saying.
buy me a book for this? And so that is the way the industry works.
Yep.
Okay, what's your personal troublesome woman moment? Something rebellious, bold, or taboo you're willing to share?
There are so many.
You're a
It may be
troublesome indeed.
hard to pick. Okay, this is a kind of a terrible one. So my husband is quite a few years older than I am, and we have been married since I was pretty young. And so one night we were at a company dinner, and there was a guy who was a kind of high muckety muck in the business, and sort of a boss, not my husband's direct boss, but a boss. And we're at this dinner, and he starts really quizzing me in a very intrusive and personal way that is quite frankly none of his business. And then he just sort of says, well, you must have some kind of daddy issues and I was just like, who do you think you are?
Wow.
And I
Did you
said,
say that?
my marriage works and you need to stop it right now. And he and I never got along. And my husband was kind of like, but you know what? I was not wrong. That guy was just way out of line.
But I don't think Ted understood what kind of a woman he was really getting when he first married me. Because he thought, I was just so demure and sweet. He kept saying I was sweet. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I think I can be sweet, but I can be a lot of other things. Like if you get me mad, I can be a lot of other things. So what was funny is we did this cancellation program for he was selling insurance or insulation before we got married. And I went out and helped him sell it. I would knock doors, set his appointments. He would go close them. And we did well working as a pair, but I was terrible at it because I'm an introvert. I hated cold calling. But anyway, so we did it. And then they called us back and said, well, all the other kids are going back to school and some of these contracts are canceling. Will you come work on this cancellation program? So we said, okay, we had just gotten married. We're looking for a job. We came out to California and we started this cancellation program. Well, we did really well with it. I mean, we worked several months and we made some really good money, but they wouldn't pay us right away. We were living literally on credit cards. And so we were waiting this pot of the gold, at the end of the rainbow, this pot of gold. And we're like thinking, okay, this will be a little nest egg where we can maybe buy a house or get a start in our lives together. So we go to at the end of our 6-month stint when we go in to get paid, and the president of the corporation said, we're just going to give you part of it now, part of it later. And Ted, being the nice guy he is, he's like, okay, we're only going to get part of it now. They'll pay us later. He came out of the office. And I was like, oh no. And I marched back in that office and I talked to that guy. I said, this was not the deal. This isn't what you told us. We counted on this. We have bills to pay. We're in debt. So anyway, I made him pay us. So he paid us. And guess what? They went out of business like 2 months later. So had I not lost most of the money that we worked for and not been able to get our first house. So
see, it's good to be troublesome.
There you go. I was actually, when we look back on it, Ted still laughs at the way I marched right into his office because I was like, this isn't happening. But then now he's like, yeah, I'm glad you did that, because he was willing to take, just being a nice guy. I'm like, yeah, no, that wasn't the deal. I'm not going to let him change it now.
Yeah. Oh, thank heaven you did that.
Yeah, right. Okay, this is our last one. Have you ever been edited in a way that changed the meaning or vibe of a scene in a direction you didn't like? And did you push back?
That hasn't happened very often. And when it does happen, I push back. It's my book. It's my name on it. I have the vision. If my editor has questions or isn't, then I will assume that I have not explained adequately, or I may need to re-illuminate and do a little more to make what I want to go clear. But at the end of the day, it's my name on that book. It's my vision. I am the artist, and I have final say on that kind of thing.
That's awesome. I've had pretty good luck with that myself. I just remember one time when they were taking one of my books and stripping out all the sensuality, any curse words, anything, just making it really squeaky clean, because they were starting a new line called Heartwarming, and they were going to offer it in their Heartwarming line. And I was excited for the opportunity. I wasn't opposed to that. But some of the stuff they stripped out was so just ridiculous. I thought ridiculous. I'm like, really, that's got to go. Like that isn't any type of sensuality. That isn't any type of curse words. And luckily my editor agreed with me, and we kind of had to go in and fight for certain things. If you change that, it doesn't make sense as to why she'd be that angry with him and want to leave, because he was cheating on her, so, and they lived in Nevada, and he was going into this house of ill repute. And so they wanted to, not have that even happen. And I'm like, but I don't show anything. It's just showing the betrayal of her being so, like, they finally win their marriage and are hanging in there. And then she gets home from her trip and she sees his truck in this place that he was not supposed to be visiting, and it just, her stomach sink, like, it's not going to work after all this work. Like, it's not going to work. So anyway, I had to fight for that a little bit, and they luckily put in the stuff that they could, and it worked out just fine. So anyway, that was fun. So let's move on to talking about the book. The Book Club for Troublesome Women is about 4 dissatisfied 60s era housewives who form a book club, which turns into a sisterhood that holds fast amid the turmoil of a rapidly changing world and alter the course of each of their lives. And this was such a fun exploration of the various personalities and how the friendship made such a difference. And the awakening that it was, and just the memories that it brought back. I thought it was fabulous. So we all enjoyed it. I hope you've seen the many comments of people saying, gosh, this was a great pick. I love it. I've really enjoyed it because it was great. And Nancy Jenke wants to know, what was the impetus to write this book?
I love telling this story because this book was so special and so personal to me for this reason. So this book came because my mom is 92. And she is kind of a force of nature. She still continues to work part-time as a consultant professionally. She's the queen of everything. She's a clothes horse, and she's a quick draw with a cocktail shaker, and she is an avid reader. And so about 3 years ago, we were talking about books when Betty Friedan's 1963 blockbuster, The Feminine Mystique, which a lot of people have credited as being kind of a catalyst for what we call second wave feminism. This came up in the conversation, and she said, I don't know if I ever told you, but that book changed my life. And I said, you have not told me, tell me more. And she started talking. And as soon as she did, I just had this idea about a book club in the 60s, these homemakers. they form this book club. They read a lot of books, but the first book they read is The Feminine Mystique, and it changes everything.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great catalyst for the
Yeah.
that goes throughout the book. I loved it. So Cheryl Little says, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, so I remember a lot of the controversy surrounding women, especially trying to get the pill. Opening a checking savings account. My question for Marie is, I guess she means and opening a checking or savings account. My question for Marie is, did you or a family member experience any of these controversies?
I did a lot of research on this, and I talked to my mom about certain kinds of things. Like my mom ended up being divorced, and I think getting credit was tricky for her as a divorced woman, and trying to get financially stable was really difficult. And even during their marriage, she just talked about um, and she sort of talked about it in ways like this is just the way it was, the inequalities that existed in their marriage. She and my dad had a grocery store. She worked full time at the store. He worked full time at the store, but she had to ask him for every single dime.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and she said he wasn't ungenerous about it, but the
Yeah.
fact that he could just go out and buy a truck if he felt like it, and she had to ask to be able to, get a new dress or a magazine subscription, it kind of rankled.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
also did a lot of research into the actual stories of real women who went through these things. And boy, have I heard a lot more stories during my book tour. Man, I get every day my inbox is filled with people who are saying, I remember this when I had to thus and such.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was raised in a home that has this really strong contradiction. I was raised in a very religious, conservative home where my mother was anti women's rights and ERA, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the other hand, she was the strong figure in the household. What she said
Mm,
did it all. If she wanted to go buy a car, she did. She was the one who inherited and had more money. My dad worked for a paycheck. And then she inherited when I was about 10 and had a little bit more money. I'll never forget her buying a Buick Skylark that sat in front of our house and was sitting there when
ooh,
my dad got home, and how I think it was put off, not because he was angry that she had the right to do it, but that he didn't get to be included. Like they had been poor,
mm,
so not to get to go buy the car with her and have a say would be kind of weird. So I
yeah.
remember him not being thrilled with the fact that she had just gone out and done this without him. But I don't think it had to do with women's rights. I think it was more like I said, like he got left
Yeah.
out.
No, that's a big moment. You'd kind of want to be part of that.
Yeah, but it was kind of a contradiction for me because she was the strong one. And yet, like I was taught that it didn't matter whether I got an education. My sole role was to, be a housewife and have kids, and I wasn't to work outside the
Yeah.
home. So different. It was kind of hard for me to kind of put together as a child. So Marie Mader, or Joe Marie Mader, wants to know. She said, I know this was based on your mom, but did you actually interview her to get the information for what she went through during this time and how she was influenced by reading the book, The Feminine Mystique? Sounds like you guys did have that conversation.
Well, we did have some of those, but I want to make clear this book, these characters are not my mom, not in any way, shape, or form. Her experience was a jumping off place for me, but these four characters, they just grew up in my imagination. So my mother's experience is not, you know, other than she read this book and it was really life changing for her, that got me going. One thing that was really, but I did talk to mom about kind of the sorts of things attitudinally that she was dealing with, kind of just, and some of it was really little things that really made her mad. Like when she went to a little Catholic school, they finally got a gym. The boys got to play basketball and have proper games and all this stuff. The girls only got to have the gym for 2 hours a week, and they were only allowed to play half court, and she was ticked. My mom likes sports.
Yeah.
So just lots of things like that. I did read a book that was super helpful to me that was called A Strange Stirring by Stephanie Coons was the author. It's out of print, but you know how it is, right? We buy all these out of print books when we're researching a new book. And it gave me a lot of insight into stories of how the feminine mystique was received by actual people, and so that was really helpful to me too.
And what did your mother think of your book? Has she read it?
Oh, she's read it. She sells copies every single day. She calls me up and she was like, I sold another book.
Uh,
So
that's so wonderful.
she's super, super proud. She's like, what should I wear to the movie premiere? There's no movie happening, at least not yet, but mom's got her outfit.
You
She's
never
working on
know.
it.
I think it would make
Yeah.
a great movie. There was echoes in it that reminded me of what's that story? It's a classic where she walks into the ocean. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I should
I
probably have
don't.
firsthand, but it just occurred to me. It just, yeah. Okay, I'll figure that one out. So you use the feminine mystique not just as a historical reference, but as a philosophical spark plug, one that ignites
Mm.
characters' awakening. What's the first book that ever shook you awake?
Oh, what an interesting thing. Um, Gosh, there's so many books that really impacted me. This is, and I had this. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I'm going
fine.
to, no, because I had it turned off, but my mother is the only one who rings through because when your mom's 92, give me 1 second.
You bet, no problem.
Mom, I'm going to call you back. I love you.
She okay?
She's fine, but when your mom's 92 and she rings, the phone rings. So I should have turned that off instead of on Do Not Disturb. There was a book, and I think, it was called, when I read as a child, it was called The Endless Step.
Oh, okay.
And it was about this family that was sent off they were sent off into exile in Siberia.
Oh,
And it was so dramatic. And it was sort of my idea first that there were children who lived in a very different world than I lived in.
yeah.
And that was kind of mind expanding for me. And another one was The Diary of Anne Frank.
Oh, yeah. So good.
And I so identified. I could put myself in her shoes. I mean, I just sobbed over that book
Yeah.
because of course what's coming. And
Right.
like you just was like, she could have been me. She could be any of us, right?
Right. That was a tearjerker. I remember one for me was The Scarlet Letter. Something about that
Mm.
and the shame she was forced to bear really moved me as a teenager, and so that one sticks out in my mind as one that sort of woke me up to certain themes of what's just, what's unjust, that whole thing. So I really liked that one. But okay, so many of the women in the book are confronting truths they've long avoided about
Mm.
their marriages, careers, and even themselves. Was there a particular character or storyline that surprised you as you wrote it? One that took a turn you didn't see coming?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I didn't see it coming, but I didn't know it was going to be as deep as it was. So there's a character named Viv. And, when I write these ensemble casts, that's kind of what I'm known for. Sometimes I think it's just because maybe apparently it's the hardest way to write a book and I like to do hard things. I don't know. In the middle, I always think, why can't I just write one character like other people? But when you have a big ensemble cast, you kind of think sometimes, well, they can't all be super fascinating. So one will be less, maybe less. And I thought Viv would be that person. And she isn't. She is. So and I'm not really giving anything away. She's a mother of six, and she had been a nurse during the Second World War, but she's like, she loves being a mom. This was what she wanted. And yet she has this kind of longing for something more at this stage because her kids are getting older. And, she, and I just thought, how am I trying to put this? She makes such a great intellectual journey in a lot of ways, really even more than the other characters. And I didn't realize that would be the case when I started writing.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. How did you? We have a question here. Sonia Pope wants to know, how did you come up with the title?
Oh, it was such a drama. Because I actually had a different title originally that no one at the publishing house liked. This happens from time to time.
Never.
And they were like pitching all these other titles that I hated with a white heat. And I wanted the title I wanted. My original title, it was going to be called the Betty Friedan Book Club. And I just loved that. And some people, you either loved it or hated it. And they actually did a big focus group and said 25% of the people loved it, 25% of the people hated it. And they said, but a bigger problem is 50% of the, didn't like either of the titles that they had pitched. And so on the very first page of this book, and I'm not giving anything away because it is the very first page, I say something along the lines of, because I don't have the book in my hand, and on February 19th, 1963, a troublesome, imperfect, controversial woman named Betty Friedan published a troublesome, imperfect, controversial book titled The Feminine Mystique. The book did not solve the problem, but it shone a light helping other women who felt isolated and powerless to find one another and their voices. That has been the start of every revolution. So that's kind of the very first page. Some clever sausage in my publishing company picked up on the word troublesome. And we had this big thing where they had all these titles, and I was just going, no, I want what I want. And my agent who was on this call said, Marie, look at that one in the middle. And it was the book club for troublesome women. And I went, oh, that's good. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that. I mean, with the book, you have to identify a problem before you can start solving it. And I think that this book helps these women identify their problem. And it's no longer this general malaise. It's something they can identify and focus on and try to fix. So I think that that is awesome. So Chris McPeak said the cover was very fitting for the 60s. How many cover choices did you go through before this choice?
They pretty much, they basically nailed it on the first go around. There were a couple of things, that when you do a book cover, they like send you this big questionnaire and they're like, what might you want to see? What do you not want to see? All these things. Are there other covers that kind of you might want to compare? So I trust cover designers to know what they're doing, but there are usually changes. But I had said, I want it to say women, books, 1960s. And so they sent it and I was like, this was it. But then there was a couple of things, just a couple of tiny things. Can you hold the book up, Brenda? I should have had my copy. So I looked at it and I was like, where's the book? There was no book. So they put the book in her lap. It's subtle, but it's there. And I was like, why doesn't she have a cigarette? So we put the cigarette in. And then the only other thing is there's a handbag next to her.
Oh, the cigarette's right there. It kind of blends. I didn't even know.
So there's a handbag next to her. And originally that handbag was like a carpet bag. And it was just way too much patterns. It looked like a test pattern. So, but apart from that, I was like, our work is done here, people.
It's perfect. You know what? It looks exactly like my living room in the 60s.
Right?
This couch.
I actually think the color palette skews a little more 70s almost, but it
I was 64, and this was my couch up until 74 when we moved. So it was
my gosh,
10 years, and we had almost that exact same couch, but it had a plush, and maybe this one does too. That nap, to it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a great cover. Okay, well, since we're running out of time, we're going to close with this. We're going to do a little game after this, but we're going to close with one more question. Mary McDowell says, do you have a female friend group like this?
I have a lot of female friends. I don't have this specific group because I've moved a lot in my lifetime. So it does make it hard. But I have very close female friends who I trust. Most of them at this point are people, mostly they're writers, but some are some of my quilting buddies that have been my quilting buddies for a long, long time.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. And I have many of my friends are writers too. It's kind of like, it's almost like we went to high school together to come through publishing together all these years and be sharing. Sorry, I'm looking for the game so we can quick do our game. It's short and I just think it'll be kind of fun. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. So, now I've messed up my pages, Lex. I think I'm okay. Okay, so this one is now or then. So what I'm going to give away 2 surprise packages, one for the first game, one for the second. And there's just 2 little questions, so they're easy. So now or then, women in media are significantly underrepresented as experts. Is that true of the 1960s when this book was set or now? So put your answers in the comments and we'll give you a minute to do that. And then we will ask Marie what she thinks. So women in media are significantly underrepresented as experts. Is that true of the 1960s or is that true now? Marie, what do you say?
I say then, but I also say it could depend on the topic, but I think in general then.
It still happens today. So that's actually true today. They are underrepresented as experts in the media. All right, here's another one. A married woman could be fired just for being pregnant. Is that true then or is that true now? So put your answers in the comments. And the first surprise package, this is the first game. So one surprise package is going to go to someone who commented an answer on either the first question or the second one in this game. And the question, the second one again is, a married woman could be fired just for being pregnant. Is that then in the 1960s or now? And if you read Marie's book, you'll know probably the answer to this. Marie, why don't you tell us?
Then.
Yes, that was true then. But it's illegal now. But do you think it still happens?
I think it probably happens. You
Yeah,
know, I
there
think maybe people find loopholes or ways around it or things like that. But yeah, I think it
Right.
probably still happens sometimes.
Lay off. Right? Tighten up the workforce.
Yep.
Okay, I have one more game. There's just a couple questions for that too. And this will be for the second surprise package. And Alexa will pick a winner out of the comments with your answers. So this is name that feminist icon. Okay. No woman gets an orgasm from shining the kitchen floor. Who said that? No woman gets an orgasm from shining the kitchen floor. I will give you a hint. This book deals with this person as the catalyst for the book.
You guys should all be getting it now.
Yep. Marie, who is it?
That would be Betty Friedan.
Good. That's right. That's Betty. Okay. So last one. The most courageous act is still to think for yourself aloud. I love that. The most courageous act is still to think for yourself aloud. This one's going to be harder because it could just be anybody, but I will let you know a hint. It's a famous designer. A famous designer. Some people wear the perfume. A lot of people wear the perfume. It's probably the most popular perfume there is. Got a guess?
I've got a guess, but I think it's wrong.
What's your guess?
You said designer and I thought clothes. I was thinking Diane von Furstenberg.
Oh, well, that was a good guess. It's Coco Chanel.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have you move over to the Zoom where we will be having our after party with our BookBox subscribers. I have another little game that we'll be playing there that I think is going to be fun. So I will look forward to seeing you in a minute while I wrap up the meeting with just a few last.
Thanks for letting me join in, guys.
You bet. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody else, I want to let you know that Janet gave 2 500-piece banned books puzzles for us to give away, as well as the 2 August boxes that she purchased for us to give away. And we are going to do that to some live viewers that are here with us tonight. So Alexa, let me see if you can get me the book group on the phone, we will pick some, or if you'll just pick them for me real quick. Lexi will pick them for me real quick. And we will just choose some live viewers to win these 2. Okay. All right. So the August book box winners that Janet gave away are Debbie Bramlett Hawkins. Congratulations, Debbie. We will be putting up a post where it gives the link to my website, or you can go on there under the book group tab and find the giveaway link, giveaway claim form. Then the other winner of the August book box is Diana Berichter. So congratulations to both of you. And then the puzzle winners are Edie Bartines Cohen. So congratulations, Edie, and Sue Ryder. So you both have won a 500-piece banned books puzzle, which kind of goes along with our theme of troublesome women, right? It's a way to rebel, to read the books that other people are trying to ban. Many of them are some of the greatest books ever written, some of our classics. So before we leave, I want to say congratulations to our top 10 contributors, and I will name those now. These are Facebook names. These are just the people who are most active in book group, liking posts, helping other people in the group, sharing posts, commenting on my page in the book group. And those are Janet Roble, Jen Miller, Nancy Brady, Cheryl Little, Karen Chandler, Nicole Duvall, Jo Marie Maderer, Star Roybal, Marie Christensen, and Virgie Lane. And Janet, Star, and Nicole, 3 of people in the top 10 are coming so far that I've seen go through, are coming to the Italian weekend here in Sacramento that we're going to have in April. And we can't wait to see them and others there. Each month, if you make it into the top 10, you're entered to win a year's subscription to the Brenda Novak boxes. We pick 4 winners and they each get 3 of the boxes. So that's coming up in December. We do our big drawing at our Christmas party there. So these women will get their name in for another month. Also, remember to read and record our July read by August 15th. On my website under the books group tab for a chance to win a $100 gift card to the Brenda Novak store. You don't have to read along with this monthly in order to earn your enamel pin at the end. You just have to finish that by January 15th, which also enters you to win the grand prize of having a dedication in my book. You probably noticed in the summer that changed everything. It's dedicated to Pam Record, who won this last year for finishing all 12 reads. She was part of that drawing. So if you do it month to month, you're entered into the monthly drawings. If you wait until you get behind or whatever, that's okay. You can still earn your pin. So we want to make sure that's clear. Our August read is A Summer for the Books by Michelle Lindo Rice. And our book group meetings, as always, are on the last Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. The August Brenda Novak boxes with the cute bricks will ship next week. Yay! So get your crafting prowess ready, and we're going to make these at the next book group meeting. Unless you want to make them before and post in the group, that's fine too. We're excited to see those pictures. Now, I am heading to the after party where I have another fun game, and we'll get to visit with Marie some more. So I hope many of you are going to join me there. So thanks for joining me tonight. Bye-bye.